everybody on out to another edition of the Living Deadwax podcast. I am your host and moderator here, Ty, joined by my co-host, co-moderator, one of my best friends, Tyler. Tyler, how are you doing this evening? Are you ready for tonight's topic as well?
I'm very ready. I did homework. I just spent the last five
Oh,
and a half minutes pulling the collection because you told me I had to. So I just did that. And
yeah,
I'm ready to rock and roll, man. I listened
cool.
to a lot of stuff and listed off some of my faves. So here we go.
Here we go. Yeah, tonight was my choice of topic. We are doing favorite guitar players and why. So either their songwriting ability, their tone, their soloing, their riff writing, whatever. I just want to know the why behind why you chose them. So before we get into tonight's topic, make sure you hit the like, subscribe, notification bell, comment down below. Who are some of your favorite guitar players? We'd love to hear from you. We appreciate you guys checking us out, joining us on this ride. We got content coming each and every week here on the channel. So Tyler, you want to do the honors, kick us off? I didn't rank these,
Oh, no.
but if you want to kick us off with your first person and kind of let us know why you chose said person.
Okay. All right. So might as well get some heavy hitters out of the way here. Whatever.
Okay.
So some obvious ones. Um, so I did pick a few of the guys you got to
And
pick.
and
So,
we'll alternate back and forth. So
for sure, yeah, for sure.
okay.
So I did pick some obvious ones, like whatever the fuck. So first one, I'll do Jimmy. So this is the Celebration Day box set from 2007. This is 15, almost 16 years ago, by the way.
Jeez.
So that is, when I thought about this, because I actually listened to this today, and because I actually don't mind this set. I like this set. I know it gets a little bit of flack because I shouldn't say from certain fake folks, because Jimmy did do a lot of overdubs for this set. So he won't say where they're at, but there's obviously the weirdos that are like, I can hear it here. This is this and this is that, whatever. And he like spliced in old stuff to overdub into this set, whatever. So
Okay.
people believe it's mostly Plant's vocals, but I'm sure there's stuff for guitars or whatever, right? But I like this set a lot because I listened today, because I like that it's Jimmy's tone and Jimmy's playing on a modern, because you don't hear Jimmy play. So it's Jimmy Page playing through modern, means and modern production, whatever,
Yeah.
making everything as clean as possible and as shiny as, polished as possible, while still leaving some frills here and there. But I dig it a lot. Jimmy Page is one of my favorite guitarists of all time. Obviously, he's one of these the icon, the giant of classic rock guitar. And then just the biggest guitar songs ever. You got A Whole Lot of Love, obviously being among the biggest. Trample Underfoot, Ramble On, Since I'm Loving You, Rock and Roll, obviously Cashmere. Literally, just every song is a massive guitar song. There's actually, I don't know if you caught this recently, or a couple days ago. Jimmy posted a demo of sorts to the Rain song. Did you hear about this or see this anywhere?
I saw it last week when we recorded news, which never hit the
Yes.
channel, but
Yeah.
I did see it last week on Ultimate Classic Rock. Yeah, pretty interesting. Yeah, it's an
It's
alternate
fucking
take or
cool.
version. Okay, I
Yeah.
didn't listen to
So
it, but
it's prior to Plant obviously putting on his vocals or whatever, and it's pretty fucking cool. It's his basically as interpretation, and like, not that I dislike the track, obviously, that they actually released or anything like that, but giving you that alternative look at that same track, because the production's flawless. And there's a rumor, belief, myth, that the track that he put out was actually a lost track that he talked about many years ago. And he said he never knew what happened to that with that recording and this and that. And he said some shit that it was basically lost time. So there's speculation that this is the track that was lost to time that has been resurfaced and whatever. And Jimmy just put it out under Jimmy Page. And there's a video of sorts on YouTube for it, a really, really high quality, just landscape video, which is really fucking cool. But yeah, so if you're into that, you want to see that in the Rain song kind of stuff,
cool.
It's there. But anyway, Zeppelin, Jimmy Page, that's where it's, that's kicks off, because I think this is probably gonna be on damn near most everybody's lists for favorite guitar players, usually, who knows. So there you go, love it. And tone, ability, songwriting, production. Jimmy does it all, and
Yeah.
it's typically fucking cool. Even his 80s records or 80s record is cool too. And the Death Wish 2 soundtrack, which I also purchased, still also pretty cool. And then he obviously continued on through
I
the
didn't.
90s with Plant and Coverdale Page and Plant Page, the No Quarter Project, and the Black Crow stuff. Like he never lost it really. Obviously, for hardcore Zeppelin fans, they have their favorite years and eras and tours and things like that, where Jimmy was more fucked up, more sober than others and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
for my dumb, because anybody that actually knows anything about guitar, you're gonna really just not hear anything technical or like insightful really about actual playing from either one of us. It's going to be a
Sure.
lot of I love this song, it sounds awesome, his whatever. It's going to be a lot of that, but
Yeah,
we come
but
out from the same passion.
I don't. Yeah, I don't really think you need to be know how to play said instrument to appreciate an artist. Like I
Yeah,
don't. There are certain guitar players who play a certain way when their tone, which I prefer more than other people, or their riff writing ability, like that shit, or their
yeah.
soloing sticks with me. Rather, obviously, I know like Eddie Van Halen, obviously a great fucking guitar player, but there's more. I think the casual listener can grab on to more shit than just like, oh, this is really hard to play. It's really
Yeah.
impressive. So, yeah, I mean, definitely Jimmy with that, the tone on those albums, like the production that he gets, like it's iconic. Um, you know, even if you're not hearing vocals or of a song, like it's Zeppelin.
For
You know,
sure.
so it
It's
definitely
also
stands out.
For sure. Also, like I think somebody's gonna be on your list here pretty quick. Um, it's also like when you contextualize a lot of that music and you realize that these bands are making these songs with these sounds for the first time in the history of humanity. It takes on a
Sure.
whole different thing that when you really kind of contextualize it that way, because obviously since all this stuff has come out, there's been a trillion sound alikes and influence bands and all this other stuff that we've come across and probably like a
Yeah.
lot of it, right? But just knowing these are like really the foundations of where everything we have today and have had since come from, it just makes it all, you appreciate it all the more and just kind of take it
Yeah.
in a different way in your head. Maybe that's what I
Yeah.
do at least.
True innovators. That's,
Yeah, 100%.
can definitely be appreciated.
Yeah,
Yeah, and what you were alluding to is Tony Iommi, and I just, I pulled Mob Rules. I do love this record. A lot of great fucking heavy Tony riffs on this album. This is my favorite era of Sabbath, the Dio era, but obviously anything pretty much in the Ozzy era too, like some of the most iconic metal riffs of all time. Obviously with Tony too, you get the fact that Tony lost his fingertips, but the last day he was going to quit the factory that he worked at, and he was working on a machine that he normally didn't work out because the guy called out and or
yeah,
didn't show up that day, and Tony had to work that press and lost his fingertips. So he's like, "Oh, I'm screwed." We're doing this band thing. I don't know how to play. So he made rubber fingertips, and that basically changed his whole style and tone and the sound that he got. And that was a big part into the Black Sabbath sound. And obviously you have the Devil's Note and stuff like that, which is a big part of their songwriting. But yeah, Tony, one of the greatest innovators of all time. I never get tired of his soloing, his riffs, basically all throughout the era. I really dig his solo record too, Iommi. They did in like, it was like early 2000s, I think, if I remember
mm,
right. Um, it's like either late 90s or early. I can't remember if it was pre or post reunion, but like I think
mm-hmm.
Ozzy does a song with him on there. It's basically what he did was when he did the Black Sabbath featuring Tony Iommi record that Glenn Hughes is on,
Yeah,
he basically did that later and actually did it
okay,
the way he wanted to do with different singers and shit. That's a really cool record too. That's underappreciated. But yeah, he's the riff lord. He's the master for a reason. I chose Mob Rules just because I really love this record, and Falling Off the Edge of the World has some great guitar work on there. Obviously, the title track, really fucking heavy, and some good riffing, cool intro as well, cool guitar intro. The Mob Rules title track. So yeah, Tony Iommi had to be on the list for sure.
for sure. So just to double back for you, that was 2000.
Okay.
Uh, and some of the guest musicians on here are pretty crazy. So you have Rollins on there.
Yes. Yeah.
You have John Tempesta. You got Dave Grohl. You got
Mm.
Brian May. You got Phil Anselmo. You got Matt Cameron. You got Serge. You got Corgan, co-wrote Black Oblivion. You have Ian Astbury. You have Peter Steele on the record as well. Ozzy, Billy Idol, and Ben Shepherd from Soundgarden. So
Yeah. You've never listened to that
pretty
record?
fucking crazy.
It's
I've never
on.
heard it. No,
It, it's on
I
Spotify.
know it
Check it out.
exists. I have. It's fucking. That's a really cool lineup of people for sure. I know it exists.
Yeah.
I know Rollins has talked about it before, but I know it exists. I don't know anything more than just that, honestly. That's a killer lineup right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's a cool record. Yeah, really. I mean, Tony. It's typical Tony style. Great, heavy riffs, heavy guitar. But yeah, it has great guests on there. It's a cool record. Check it out if underappreciated. If you don't want to just listen to something Sabbath to appreciate Tony.
Oh, for fucking sure. All right. So a little change of pace here. I'll leave the other obvious one for later, but John Mayer. So John Mayer comes at this from a completely different avenue. Obviously, more a blues based musician. I was attracted to John Mayer, obviously, just because the songs were really catchy and everything else, and he had a different, because it's all pop songs, it's all just pop, whatever. And I didn't know how to take it when I was younger, because like obviously the first big one was Your Body's a Wonderland, and that was just a simple like little pop whatever song, and
Yeah.
Cool song, whatever, right? But I didn't really think anything of it. And then once just more stuff kept coming out, more interesting stuff that wasn't really like that came out, I just kind of got super, super into it. And this live set, I've talked about before, is a killer live set. Everything live he ever does always just sounds so good. The production on it's amazing, and his guitar player. And so for me, because I was out, Vultures, Neon, Slow Dancing in a Burning Room, and Gravity. It just the blues take on guitars is not something that I'm always super super into, depending on who it is, I guess. But the way that he does it, again, this is probably just dumb dude stuff, because there's way more advanced and cooler stuff out there that I don't even know if it's a, I'm a layman when it comes to this stuff. But for my money, John Mayer does it really fucking well. I'm not really into jam bands or anything like that at all, as we've established for both of us many many times over. But the jams that he does on the live records and live stuff, you make it appreciated so much more, because he just does so much weird shit, just so much weird, cool stuff, and takes it to another level. And I really appreciate like his tone, his songwriting ability, obviously his vocals, everything else that, but his guitar playing is definitely something he I think that a lot of people appreciate his guitar playing more than his actual songwriting ability. I think a lot of guitarists jack that more than anything else, because I think I don't want to say cooler. Maybe it's more accepted to be a fan of guitar playing than it is his actual music for certain folks. That's a dumb way to look at it. But yeah, I think he's a great musician in my mind, and just he hasn't done much. The latest record, the newest record he put out, the Sob Rock, that's kind of the first record that I'm kind of been out on. But everything else prior to that, just fucking killer. Love with John Mayer, and you can't go wrong. And makes you feel good, and makes you feel sad, and gives you all the words to all your emotions. So there you go, John Mayer.
Gotcha. Yeah, he's a guy I never really tried, but I always known everybody appreciates his ability. So
yeah,
good choice. All right, let's take it in a completely different world. Let's go with John Petrucci from Dream Theater. This is Images and Words, my favorite Dream Theater record. I watch a lot of like guitar YouTubers, like guys. Like I watch Become the Night and Stevie T and those types of dudes who all play like that like proggy metal stuff. They all worship John. Like
yeah.
Usually John's like the guy they all worship, like, and he's the guy who kind of pioneered that style of playing. So again, I don't know like what he's doing on the guitar. I just know like, hey, that sounds fucking cool, and it sounds really intricate and fucking difficult. So like, I'm an appreciator of people who do things that are like the peak of their form, and like I could practice like every day and probably never be as good because you like pretty much anybody can pick up a guitar and play a
Yeah,
guitar, but like to reach and anybody can like usually throw a baseball or shoot a basketball, whatever. But to reach the peak of your profession, I always just appreciate that just because it fascinates me, like how single minded you have to be, and that's John. So,
yeah,
um, absolutely stellar fucking guitar player. This whole record's just full of pretty much cool riffs. Metropolis Part One, obviously, really great fucking song. Pull Me Under is their big single on here, but the whole fucking record and basically their whole discography. And I will mention this for some other bands too. It's for a band like this where it's a prog band. They're all amazing fucking. They're all just the top musicians in their genre. It's really hard to stand out. And like John stands out. He's very integral to that band. Like if he ever left, Portnoy leaving is one thing, but like if John ever decided to leave, it'd be really weird because that
yeah, yeah,
tone, his guitar playing, his writing ability, his soloing, it's very hard to replicate. So,
yeah,
not that Mike Portnoy is not a great drummer. It's not what I mean, but it's just a different vibe. I think if John left, it'd be really weird.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because I mean, from what I glean as a novice prog fan, prog's like a musician's genre. Like
100%. Yeah.
it's totally not obviously not solely appreciated by musicians. It's not true,
No, I
but
love it. I'm
I
not a
think
musician, but
no, exactly. But I think that if you are a musician, I think that that's one of the things that will draw you to it instantaneously because you're like maybe you don't get it, possibly I don't know, but you will fucking appreciate all the things you're hearing because you know how difficult and intricate everything is that's
oh
happening.
yeah,
And
yeah.
you'll definitely take obviously a different take than what we do, but I think it's the musicians' lane. I think is what prog is.
No, 100%. Yeah, it's definitely scratches that itch for those guys. So, they can hear that stuff and appreciate it in a different way. Like that's really they know how hard it is to play, or they've tried to and
Yeah,
can't, or whatever, or replicate it, whatever. So, but yeah, it's kind of weird. There's a dynamic there of like I think like if you start listening to like extreme versions of metal,
hmm
like I think like the prog comes later. Like I think it
okay,
happens to nearly all of those people just because you get so extreme, like you listen to black metal, you listen to death metal, whatever, and then those start incorporating prog into their respective genres and stuff. So then you want to like kind of branch out and like where did they get this stuff from? So I think it scratches that itch for metal fans. So
yeah. And you want a fuller picture as to what you're listening to. Therefore, you go back to what they're listening to, and you kind of dive into what they're based on.
yes,
Yeah,
100%. Yeah, hundred
that
percent.
makes sense. Fucking A, man. That's awesome. All right. So another big dude that I have here. I don't know if it's on your. I assume he's on your list. We can maybe double, possibly. I don't
Okay.
know.
Yeah, maybe.
But on my list is one Mr.
Oh
Dave
yeah.
Mustaine.
Yeah,
So I
definitely
don't
made
know
my
if
list.
it's on your list. Okay, so we can double this up.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so Dave Mustaine, obviously the mighty Megadeth, and ooh, there you go, rock and roll,
Rest in
girl.
peace and peace cells. So
Hell yeah. We have the exact same Megadeth records, by the way. Wait, do you have more than that?
yeah, I have the new
Oh, you have
record,
a
and
new record.
I have World Needs a Hero as well.
There you go. Yeah, you do.
I
Okay.
need those are reissues that are weird. So those are another band that the reissues get weird. They sometimes show up and they're cheap, and then they get really stupid expensive, and they need to
Yeah.
just do another reissue campaign of everything. I appreciate it. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. A Capital maybe is a weirdo deal, but yeah, fucking yeah. This is because these are because we have the same one, don't we? We have the same
Yes, yeah.
yeah, with the same pressing.
This is
So yeah.
this is an OG piece sales, but yeah, this is
Oh, is it really?
one of the cap. Yes, yeah.
Oh wow,
I bought this.
I didn't know you had.
I bought this at Zia like 2 years ago. Yeah,
Okay, shit. Maybe I did remember that. Okay,
yeah.
but Rust in Peace is the same one, right?
Same pressing it.
Okay. Yeah, it's the because these are like $100 a pop now, aren't they?
Yeah,
Fuck me, man. That's just fucking
yeah,
crazy.
yeah.
But okay, anyway, whatever. Dave Mustaine. Dave Mustaine obviously is a legend in the thrash metal scene, and if you ask him, he will tell you that he
And he
basically
is.
sculpted yeah, he's
Yeah.
the genesis of the entire fucking Big Four. Like he'll tell you that. And like it's not wrong. the thing about it is he's not totally wrong, but obviously he's not right.
Nah.
Like you can make a solid argument, especially if you're someone smarter than we are, that Dave Mustaine is the genesis of the thrash metal scene, or Big Four at least, right? But because I played with Carrie. Carrie was in Megadeth for a few months. Played with Carrie, right? I was in Metallica. I'm in Megadeth, and I showed Scott. We toured together with Anthrax early on. So there you go. There's all the stuff, right? That's all me. That's his argument, I think, right? But
My
you know,
yeah, my take on that all that shit is Dave's just a giant ego, so he's gonna try to take credit
yeah,
for everything. But
for sure.
like if you, actually, my opinion on that is Brian Slagel is way more responsible for thrash than any
For
of the
picking,
musicians, because if Lars never met Brian, Metallica might never happen. If Lars never signed Slayer, it that shit might never happen. And Slayer and Metallica were like the two kind of originators. So,
yeah,
you have Exodus and then later Megadeth and Anthrax. But yeah, that's and there's Canadian speed metal and shit and speed metal bands. It's a different style. It's similar, but yeah. So I think Brian from Metal Blade's like way more responsible for all that shit.
that's
But
fair.
anyway, because you had the two
That's fair.
biggest bands, like you helped spawn literally the probably the two biggest bands in the Big Four, like Slayer and
Yeah, yeah,
Megadeth's probably like there. But so yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But go ahead. Sorry.
Fair. No, you're good. No, we're just going back and forth. So for me, so I picked out some of my favorite Mustaine tracks. I'm a big
Okay.
Trust guy. I've told Ty this a million times. I think Trust has some of my favorite guitar work that Dave ever fucking did.
That's a cool song.
Really cool song. We've seen him. I've seen him. I think 3 times, and they've opened with Trust twice. So I'm all about that. That's fucking cool with me. Big Trust guy. Hangar 18, obviously, fucking great. Peace Cells, fucking great. I dig Mechanics too, because I dig the more raw, weirder fucking take on it, of the original take, I should say, than what Metallica later did did earlier, I guess I should say, with Four Horsemen. But still Dave. Angry Again, Tout Le Monde, and Darkest Hour. Fucking crazy fucking cool guitar stuff. And it's just really crazy to hear it, because again, a lot of what Dave did originally was not really stuff that was happening everywhere, really, with his, because he definitely has a certain tone. Like, Dave Mustaine, Megadeth, like, what it sounds like. That's why, like, I always love watching, like, if Megadeth wrote XYZ song, I always like watching those videos on YouTube, because it's so funny, because it's like those guys have that tone down perfectly, and you're like, oh, that is fucking Dave Mustaine for sure. If he wrote fucking Enter Sandman, that's the take you'd probably get on it, right?
Yeah.
So I like listening to that a lot. So Dave Mustaine, definitely an innovator in the genre, and big influence into a lot of bands.
Yeah, the way I try to do this list was I try to do bands with one guitar player to make it
Okay,
easier.
just make it easier.
I do. Dave did make the list. He's a great riff writer. Some of the most classic solos, Tornado of Souls, off Rust in Peace and Holy Wars. Tyler mentioned Hangar 18. Obviously, you got Peace Cells on here. Just tons of fucking classic tracks with great technical playing. I know players appreciate Dave's playing. And like riff writing ability. Thing about Megadeth though is Dave surrounded himself with great musicians all the time. So like this is not as good without Marty. I truly don't think so. Like Marty does a lot of those solos as well. And Marty's we just saw Marty. He's fucking excellent. He still is excellent. And then Chris Poland on this record is no slouch either. And he had Chris Broderick in the band when we saw him a bunch. Now he's got Kiko in the band, who's a fucking amazing guitar player. Like he surrounds himself with great musicians a lot, which helps. But he is certainly a great fucking songwriter, and he's the heartbeat of the band. So yeah, he definitely made my ability, and he writes most of the songs and everything. Now he does pretty much everything. But so yeah, that's why he definitely was one of the first guys I thought of as well. So Dave Mustaine from Megadeth. So
hell yeah, love it.
Alrighty. I'm just kind of picking them off the top here. So.
Yeah.
My next guy is, and he might actually top it. Like I've actually sat down and ranked this one day, and that's Chris DeGarmo from Queensryche.
Wow. All right.
I listen to these records. This is the first record of the morning. I pulled this because there's some great fucking playing on there. I like Michael too. I kind of did a twofer. And Michael's still really good. We just saw Queensryche as well. He still plays everything really well. He does
Yeah,
basically all of Chris's parts now, which is interesting. He doesn't, honestly, like, they're decent. But, like, Chris is tone and his live tone, man. Like, to me, it's like my favorite sound. It's like my favorite guitar sound. I have no idea why. It just resonates with me. And then his songwriting ability is just second to none. Like, he wrote some of the bands. He wrote Silent Lucidity, the band's biggest fucking song. That acoustic intro and the symphonics in that song and the symphony and shit. Like, that's what made that fucking song. And
yeah,
it's him. It's him. Obviously, Jeff's great too. The rest of the band's great too. Eddie, Scott, they're good, competent players too. But I think Chris like really added a ton to this band. I picked the first record because there's good ripping playing on this record, and then Empire, which is probably my favorite Queensryche record, just has some great songwriting ability and more of a different side of Chris. And so yeah, if I sat down and actually ranked it, he might be up there just because I love that tone so much, man. It's just like ingrained
yeah,
in my
yeah.
DNA. Like it's like you can sing the solos type of thing
Oh
just
yeah,
because you know them so well.
yeah,
And just the sounds that he made with the guitar, and you watch old live videos, and it's just like he nails shit all the time.
yeah.
Just an excellent musician.
I like, I mean, for all these guys we're talking about, I like watching live shit from. I mean, most of my favorite bands, or all of my favorite bands, really like watching live shit. But like the live tone the guitars get, and to be able to nail or even sometimes improve on what the fuck they did in the studio, whether it be when it comes out or 25 years fucking later or whatever, right? It just fucking blows me away to watch that shit live. It's just like how are you able? Because it took you, first of all, like you obviously nailed it in the studio, and that was the whole thing. I imagine you did it as many times as you could until you were like, that's the one. That's the one I hear. That's the one I want, right? Then
Mhm.
you fucking duplicate that live every fucking night or damn near every night for fucking 3 years afterwards. Fucking insane to me. The fact that you have the ability to do that and you have that
Yeah.
skill set. Because it's something I could never ever even fathom. And the fact that so many dudes do it night in night out to the top, tier of the ability in the craft, it's fucking just gnarly to me. It's crazy.
Yep. Hundred
But
percent.
awesome. All right,
Yeah.
so another
A lot of these guys too we'll talk about were influenced on things while they're doing this shit too, and they're still good.
for sure, 100%. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
if they're not, I mean, all these guys on my list, I mean, if they're still alive, I think they all are still alive. No, okay, one's dead.
Ah,
But they're all still fucking great. They're all still like
yeah.
killing it and stuff whenever they do play.
Yeah.
All right, another one for me. I could have pulled more stuff out, but I'm gonna pull this out because it has my favorite song on it.
Nice.
So, little
Ooh.
Guns N' Roses. Izzy Stradlin. That's my favorite
Oh,
guitarist.
I gotcha.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's actually cool. But Gilby actually, my Gilby guy said the tour on this one. That's where I'm actually at.
Okay.
No, Slash, one of my favorite guitarists of all time. Slash's tone, he said that dirty, weird fucking tone that he comes in with, and you can hear Slash on all of his songs too. He just has a very distinct fucking way that he plays, and the very way that he fucking handles his guitar work is just fucking crazy. For my money, I've said this for years, and we'll go up and down about it. Favorite gun song is Estranged. Has 3 fucking Slash solos in it. It's long as shit. The video is outrageous and ridiculous and just
Mhm.
amazing. There our long lost episode of music videos. We went over that for almost all fucking 9.5 minutes of it or some shit. But it's fucking great. Go check it out. So Estranged, super super cool song. His guitar playing on that's fucking amazing. November Rain, still with Use Your Illusion Records. Also later with Slither and Fall to Pieces. That's some of my favorite shit he ever did.
Mm.
And then I don't have any of them on here, but I have listened to his solo stuff with Miles Kennedy and the Conspirators. That stuff's still super fucking cool. Like Slash still fucking lays down really really um cool tracks and cool songwriting. Like he doesn't sing on anything, obviously. It's not really his bag. But he also surrounds himself with fucking great musicians. And Miles Kennedy's as a vocalist and songwriter too. Like he's fucking great. Miles' voice is insane. And for a good handful of years there, he was the best fucking bet for gun songs because he sounds the best and still kind of does. But he doesn't do them obviously too much anymore because the Guns exists. So there's that. But anyway, Slash, I love everything he does. He's a cool dude. Big fan of all his live shit too. I still need to pick up 2 live records that he has. He's had out forever, and Zia's actually had them forever. But they're like $28 a piece, and it's like the Direct TV Live at the Roxy record.
Yeah.
It's that, and it's an ugly fucking cover because it looks like the cover you'd see on your Direct TV fucking package. Like it looks like 100%. It's that fucking stupid. So I need to purchase that at some point. But this is a original promo copy for Use Your Illusion 2. Has a gold stamp on there. Yeah, it's the gold stampy. It's a little worse for wear, honestly. It's not great.
Yeah.
But the records are still pretty okay. And if I recall correctly, it actually has both inners, and it does. So
yeah, that's nice. Do you have one as well, original?
I do. Yeah, I have the repress. I have the first repress for one. Over there.
But you don't have an original copy of one.
Don't have an original copy. No one. No.
Interesting.
We've seen it a couple times, and I've like kind of wanted to get it just to have it, I guess. But I'm okay with having the repress, and then I'll end up buying the newest represses too at some point if I ever find them cheap enough, turned in or whatever, which will definitely happen at some point. But yeah, with hype sticker and everything. So there's that. Fucking Slash.
Yeah.
Saul Hudson.
Yeah, I think most of these guys, especially Slash and guys we mentioned here, like I said before, like if they're just playing, I think most of the time, most people are gonna know who they are, even if they're not playing Guns songs. Like even if he's not playing a Guns riff, like you're gonna because Slash definitely has a sound to his playing all in to itself. Side note, I love that stupid fucking commercial that he's in, the Geico commercial.
Oh yeah,
where he's auditioning for the band.
Yeah,
and he plays like the Sweet Child of Mine riff, and then like you're in. He's like, sweet. All right, or something like that. Yeah, he's like, all right.
Yeah. Alrighty. No, and Slash is he's an icon, man. I got
he is.
I got him around here, so I don't know where. He's in a box somewhere, but I have a little mini Slash as well somewhere.
Got him in a box.
Got him in a box somewhere. Yeah, I got the Funkos.
All right, I'm gonna go here to guy I've seen live a bunch of times. For my money, he's probably the greatest riff writer of the '90s. I'm gonna go with Jerry Cantrell from Alice in Chains. I pulled Dirt and Facelift because that's all I own on vinyl. But just fucking iconic, man. Like the first thing you ever hear on an Alice in Chains LP is "We Die Young." That intro riff, that fucking riff, man, just fucking amazing. Like they're Man in the Box too. Like obviously fucking, even though that song's played out for me, like it's just still iconic. Like his guitar playing, and then Dirt, you just get Them Bones, Damn That River, like Rain When I Die. Like his playing on here is amazing, and Jerry's ability to still write these riffs is amazing because like their last record, Rainier Fog, I was listening to yesterday for this, and I'm like, this is still like he's still churning out really interesting fucking riffs and solos and shit this far along, and he's not rehashing shit while still keeping that Alice in Chains style.
Yeah.
He's one of my favorite guitar players to watch live. Obviously, Jerry's singing too is obviously very integral to Alice in Chains, and obviously his songwriting ability too. I mean, he wrote some of the band's biggest songs along with Lane, but it just one of the most iconic players of the '90s for me. I don't know about like it's hard to say like influence because I don't think anybody really plays like Jerry and plays his riff in his own. So
yeah. Its sound is totally those two records. That sound that he has on his guitar is totally different than anything else that he was putting out at the time. Like it's really weird. You kind of when you listen to those records, it's really weird. As a total outsider, I'm not a massive Alice in Chains fan. With like I like Alice in Chains, as much as the next guy, I guess. But I'm not a huge fan. But even speaking as an outsider, like there's nobody else that was really putting out fucking the records that sounded like that. Like the sound that he went for and the tone that he was satisfied with is just very different than what everybody else was going for. It's cool. It's cool to have that original fucking thing out there. It's very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he's still doing it, man. Like all the new records, they all have that same style. But like I said, it's not rehashing shit. He's still. I honestly think he's becoming better in a way. Like I think his playing on the new records is better. Obviously, you have the more iconic songs on those older records, but yeah, for me, for my money, like especially early '90s, like when they were really happening, um, one of the best players around. So, Jerry Cantrell.
Fucking A. Love it. Uh, all right. So I'll go with a new age classic for me. So one of the first bands that I really got into in high school that was very outside of my wheelhouse, I suppose, as the pop punk kid in middle school and elementary school, and still high school, was a band called The Fall of Troy. So the
Mm.
Fall of Troy, they are a mathcore, if that's the genre, post hardcore, screamo, whatever band thing, and whatever the genre you want to tag them on as. And I got into them through another dude that I was a friends with that I would thought was the coolest dude in the world. And I was like, whatever he's into, I want to be into. And so he was into Fall Troy a lot, and I was like, I'm gonna be into that shit. Fuck yeah! So downloaded all the stuff on LimeWire and just dove in, and I really dug it. It was the first time I ever listened to anything with that was mostly screaming and very little clean vocals,
Oh wow.
and not in the way that you like, because you don't like these vocals at all on these records. We've listened to this quite a few times, and you're completely out on it. But the
Mm.
guitar playing for, I'm into all of it obviously, but the guitar playing, because Thomas is a drummer by trade. He's a classic trained drummer. He's a fucking prodigy. He was fucking 19 years old when he recorded this record, I think. And this is one of their biggest records, if not their biggest record. And he was in the band at like 16 putting out shit. So like he's a prodigy. And he was voted, I think Guitar Player magazine, like fucking guitarist of the year or some shit in like 2007, which is really weird
Mm.
because he was still like, Fall of Troy was not that big of a band, but he managed to fucking get on a major guitar fucking list of some kind. It was pretty crazy, for my money, because obviously they were in Guitar Hero. So FCP Remix, that's the Guitar Hero song that
I
a
remember
lot of
that.
people know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's a cool song. A lot of delay in that song. It's still cool and everything. It's just a lot of delay, but we just got the symphony going, which is on this record. Mouth like Sidewinder Missiles, also on the record. Sledgehammer is on the next record. Manipulator, X Creations, and Problem are also on those records. It's a lot of tapping. It's a lot of just crazy manic fucking guitar playing, and just really, really weird fucking like pedals and tones and just all kinds of effects that he puts on his shit. Again, the first time I ever saw somebody actually do all that stuff live was him. And again, not a huge band, but seeing him in a bar. So I'm at Clubhouse many times, and being in the Clubhouse and being on the stage and just seeing him do all his shit and just program everything and like just do it like nothing and just be closing his eyes, just fucking insanity. That also the first time I ever did seriously. I did the fucking like whatever the fingers, whatever. Right? Like I
Mm.
did that thing. That was the thing I did, and yeah, I love it, man. Thomas is a really cool guy. I met him a few times. Cool dude. Signed all my stuff all the time, and he's had some issues here and there recently, but hopefully everything is on the up and up, and you're doing better, hopefully. But yeah, from that scene, especially the mid 2000s post hardcore screamo, whatever the whole thing is, I think he was a step above. Later, Chiodos, if you remember that band, they later
Mm.
asked to join the band, and he did a record with them that a lot of people think is a fucking crazy cool record. I'm not a big Chiodos fan, but like I listened to it a couple times and I can hear Thomas in there because Thomas does have a certain way that he goes about playing. So I appreciated that, but not really anything else the record. But regardless, still like that. So he can do really no wrong. The most recent records are still pretty cool, but for my money, classic Fall of Troy is still fucking perfect. So there you go.
Yeah, because I was wondering if they were still a band, and I looked them up, and I was like, okay, yeah, they just had a record drop, whatever, 2 or 3 years ago.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, they're still definitely a band. They do a lot of touring. They have a lot of like anniversary tours now because they make money, and all those records in the past are a big deal to us kids,
Sure.
or adults now. But
Yeah,
yeah, they still do stuff, and like I said, New York could still sound pretty cool. It's just nothing for this era. Nothing touches it for me
I got you.
personally, but it's still cool.
Gotcha.
There you go. Tom's Eric
Yeah,
Fall Troy.
I do. I do. They appreciate because I still hear about that band sometimes get jocked on channels and shit and talk about. So they are a musicians band. Like musicians do
Yeah.
appreciate them. So I do appreciate him for that aspect. I know they kind of get lumped in with Dillinger. I know Dillinger Escape Plan. I know they were around before,
Yeah,
but yeah, I never really got into Dillinger outside of like
yeah, we talked.
one record. So yeah,
Yeah,
um,
definitely scene and musician legends, just not something that maybe hit with us the way it needed to. Maybe it will later in life.
yeah. All right, I'm gonna mention Adrian Smith from Iron Maiden. Uh, One of my favorite guitarist ever. Obviously, he's on the list, but yeah, just tone, soloing, songwriting ability. I mean, basically, a lot of my favorite Maiden songs are Adrian and Bruce cuts. I appreciate Adrian because Adrian and Bruce too. They take a more melodic, like approach to it, and all their songs are always singles, so obviously they have more of a radio friendly vibe, but I think they appreciate like more than just the longness or the heaviness or the progginess like Steve does.
Mhm.
So they just bring a different tone in songwriting in general to Maiden, and Adrian is a big part of that. Like when he left the band, because he left before Bruce, and like when Yannick came in, Yannick's talented, but it's just not the same thing. It's just
Yeah.
not the same thing. And then when Adrian came back, when Bruce came back, like the band, it stepped it up again. Like it had a different feel. And the dude's just written, some of the biggest songs. Can I Play with Madness? Their biggest single ever. Him and Bruce wrote. So Evil That Men Do is on this on the here too. 2 Minutes to Midnight he
Oh
wrote
wow.
with Bruce too on Power Slave. So like some of those biggest songs are probably Adrian cuts. Moonchild off Seven Sons. Seven Sons, my favorite Maiden record, is definitely in my top 10 albums of all time when we do that. But
Yeah.
yeah, I appreciate basically everything he's on. He's on a couple of Bruce's solo records.
Hmm.
I know one for sure, maybe two, and he's great on that too. Like I love Adrian. He's behind Bruce, he's definitely probably my second favorite member of Maiden. And then I appreciate Dave's playing too. It's just like Dave doesn't have a lot of songwriting cuts, and he's just a different style of player. Like Adrian brings a different. Adrian does backing vocals and shit too. So just a different vibe when he
Yeah. Yeah.
was in the band compared to not in the band. So that's why I appreciate him so much. So
So is he on? So Fear the Dark is the last Bruce record, right? Or the before he
yes,
leaves, right? Okay.
he's
Is
not
he
on
on Fear
Fear.
the Dark or no? He's not. Okay.
No.
I didn't know if there's a record
He's
that he's on that Bruce is not on or whatever, or Bruce is on, he's not on.
Fear, Fear of the Dark, and No Prayer for the Dying. He's not
Okay.
on
Oh,
those, and then
okay.
obviously he's not on the Bailey,
Yeah, but
um,
Blaze.
yeah, records too. So yeah, um, yeah, there is some stuff that he isn't on, and it's just, like I said, it's just a different vibe. It's just a different vibe. It's not bad. It's just like he's not, to me, he's not the level of player and songwriter. Or Yannick is not the
Yeah.
level,
Yeah.
the same level at all. Yeah. And then he's not on the first record. His first record was Killers with Maiden.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, he's on a lot of it, but there's that big chunk in the 90s he's not on. So
Yeah. Fucking A, man.
there you go.
Fucking fucking Adrian Smith, Iron Maiden.
Yep.
All right. So another one here. I'll do from my neck of the woods. That would be so it's one of my favorite bands in middle school, especially, and they had a major change that happened coming off the first record. In the middle or the tail end of the first record cycle, the co-songwriter and guitarist John Nolan left this band, and they brought in a new guitarist from a band called Breaking Pangea. The band is Taking Back Sunday. The guitarist is Fred Mascherino. I'm a big Fred Mascherino fan. I think everybody and their mother will tell you that there's only been two musicians in this fucking band, and both of them got kicked out after this record, which is fucking insane. Um, so I should say, Matt Rubano is the bassist on this record. He was the bassist for the record before this record, and then the record after this. But they kicked him out because they brought back original guys. Regardless, anyway, two musicians, Matt Rubano and Fred Mascherino. Fred Mascherino wrote the biggest songs that Take Back Sundays ever had, biggest singles they've ever had. He's the reason why this record is their top best-selling record. I think this is like twice, 3 times platinum, maybe. And he's the reason. He wrote all the songs. He wrote the biggest fucking guitar riffs of all fucking time for this band. And to this day, like, I'm a massive John Nolan fan. That's the original guitarist. That's who's in the band now again. I'm a big John Nolan fan. I like his solo stuff. I like Straight Outta Run, his other band. Like, I'm a big fucking fan. And there's no fucking way in hell he doesn't like it's completely night and day when you listen to John's version of this shit and fucking Fred's version of this shit. It's night and day difference. Because Fred's just a better player. It's a better fucking guitarist. His songwriting is very different. They're completely different players, but just Fred's better, honestly. Spin off this record, Make Down Sure off this record, Liar, What It Feels Like to Be a Ghost, Miami, My Blue Heaven, all on this record. And it's his record. They complained about it. They kicked him out of the band because he liked the fucking music so fucking much and he wanted to do so much. And he fucking hated them because they were fucking tied up doing other shit, which low key meant fucking being alcoholic weirdos. So, or Adam, lead singer, being an alcoholic weirdo, and other dudes just not being really interested in the band the way they need to be. And Fred, they thought he was taking over, and he kind of was because he's the only one that actually fucking cared at the time, really. And so they kicked him out, and he went on to The Color Fred, which was not anywhere near what it needed to be. They had a Break to Bend, I think was their first record they came out with, and it was cool, but it wasn't anything that I wanted. But regardless, this record is Fred's fucking swan song, and the record before this, he's still kind of where you want to be is the record before this. He's still kind of like putting his toes in the water. He wasn't really sure of himself or whatever. But by the time this record came out, he knew what he wanted and he knew what he wanted to do. He knew what he wanted the band to be, and he made it that. And they fucking made multi-million dollars, and they fucking resented him for it. So whatever. So anyway, Fred Mascherino, his solos, his riffs, he plays just fucking super fast. He should not be in Take Back Sunday. He never should have been because he's just a bad they are. But regardless, there you go. So Fred Mascherino, Take Back Sunday. If you're a fan of emo stuff or whatever from the mid-2000s, you never actually got into this record for some reason, which is insane because it's their biggest record. Do it if you're a big guitar fan because there's fucking massive guitar shit on this record and it's awesome. Miami is a fucking cool song. Go listen to it. It's fucking great. There you go. Fucking A.
It's interesting.
Yeah.
Bad business in music is almost the most fascinating aspect of it.
Yeah, they fucked themselves. They never made a record as good or anywhere near as successful ever again. And it's not even because, yes, the industry changed. That's 2005 or 6. The industry definitely changed over the next 3 years very quickly. Very quickly. But regardless, you weren't as successful because you fucking kicked them out of the band. That's why. That's why you didn't fucking make these records ever again. Like, I've gone and seen them fucking 5 or 6 times since the John came back into the band. I only saw him once with Fred, and it was on that tour when Angels and Airways opened for him with Zach Curta. Shout out Zach. Saw them together. But yeah, they're not as good, and their records aren't as good. The new record's not good. Like, it's fine. It's not anything you want to fucking listen to again. It's not memorable. Whatever. So yeah, they're all fucking dumb shits. And then they fucking Eddie fucking left, another guitarist they had. Eddie left, and because he might have an issue with other certain things. Whatever. Just they're a dumb band. Fuck them. So
funny.
I love them, but fuck them.
All right, I'm gonna go with a guy who I don't think this guy would be on Tyler's list, but I think Tyler has these albums, and I don't have these albums. So Tyler, maybe if he pulled them, he can do the show and tell for me. But I'm gonna go with a little guy named Jakey Lee from Ozzy.
Oh, okay.
And he was on 2 albums. He was on Bark at the Moon, and then after Bark at the Moon, he was on Ultimate Sin. And I love Jake's style. I really dig Badlands as well. His band that he did that's way more blues based. Really talented guy. Love his tone. Love his feel. His soloing ability is crazy. Like, to me, it's pretty. Yeah, I'm jealous. I'm jealous of those right now.
These are yours, I think. No,
are they? I give you those.
Yeah, I think Maybe Bark of the Moon, possibly.
No, Indian Giving. That's a nice copy.
It's a very nice. That's why I got it. Yeah.
Can't find that shit anymore. Be $50 bill.
100%. It's a little dusty, but yeah, it's a cool copy. These are cool
But
records.
anyway,
yeah, a guitarist.
Yeah, he's definitely my favorite Ozzy guitarist. And I don't know. I just like his soloing, like his feel more than Randy. Honestly, you know what? I was thinking about it today in terms of records that I really love, because I really love No More Tears as well. Like, I'd honestly probably put Randy as third.
Oh, wow.
I'd probably put Jake, then Zach, and then Randy. I know that's like a blasphemous, but I love both those records quite a bit. And listen to this, man. I was listening to this shit again today, and the first thing you hear, Randy dies. Okay, the first thing you hear on the next fucking Ozzy record is "Bark at the Fucking Moon," and Jake rips on that fucking song. Like, he absolutely rips on that song, and that's like, okay, now this guy's in the band. We're fine. Ultimate Sin's a cool record too. Shot in the Dark. I think that helps because like Bark at the Moon and Shot in the Dark are probably my two favorite Ozzy songs. They're definitely in my top 5. So I think that really puts a soft spot in my heart for Jake. But yeah, Jakey Lee. Yep, there he is. And like I said, Badlands is really cool too. That's a nice interview.
Yeah. It's seen better days, but considering what we compare things to these days, is fucking perfect.
Yeah, Record High guy had a copy of Ultimate Sin, right? Didn't you want like $80 for it or some shit?
Are you fucking serious?
I think so.
Good Lord.
Yeah. Which is probably what it goes for. He probably wasn't that, outpriced and shit. But
what sucks is that we've talked about it before, but what sucks is this shit got pinned up. Like, these all got pinned up for not this one in particularly, but these records notoriously got pinned up. The Motley Crue records got pinned up. Like, anything that looked cool, kids pinned on their walls. So like, things just got thrown away or got abused or whatever, and like that's just kind of what happened.
Yep. Yeah, but I had to throw Jake in there. He was one of the first guys I thought about. Love his soloing. I mean, the solo on Shot in the Dark is just fucking awesome.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, Jakey Lee from Ozzy. Also check out Badlands. That first Badland record is fucking sick. So you can't listen to it anywhere. So find the fucking album, which is expensive as hell, or the CD, which is also expensive.
Also expensive.
Just go for it. You can do it on YouTube. Yes.
Yeah, I think bootlegs are also money. Like, they're also
probably
$25-$30.
Check it out on YouTube because it's not on any streaming services either. So
yeah. All right, another one from my neck of the woods here. A little band called AFI. This is a record called Crash Love. Jade Puget is the guitarist in we're talking about here. So off this record, there's a song called Medicate. Medicate is a fucking stadium fucking status song. It's ridiculous. It's fucking really cool song. The opening riff. It's just, he leans into the fucking guitar because we talked before. I've said it before. I've said it a million times. And again, I say this as somebody that's not super deep into the band, but whatever. They're the Rush of the hardcore punk, emo, whatever the fuck they want to do, because every record is different. They have different fucking eras. So while they some will blend together, they're all different in their own ways. And there's people that are very, very passionately against certain records and certain eras. They don't want to fucking deal with any of that shit at all. So this was another change in sound a bit, even a larger sound coming off December Underground, which I think commercially might actually have their biggest seller possibly, because Miss Murder was crazy off that record. Love Like Winter was crazy off that record. So I had to say, I think that's their biggest selling commercial record. They're still on what are they on here? I think they're on Warner, maybe, right? Or DreamWorks. Is this still DreamWorks? Interscope DreamWorks, Interscope Geffen. I guess everything just kind of came together or whatever. But yeah, so for my money, for Jade, I love Dancing Through Sunday and Leaving Song Part 2 off Sing the Sorrow, which I've shown on this channel fucking squillion fucking times, and Medicate on here. Just super cool guitar work, especially because when you think about a hardcore band or a punk band, or at least a band that started out that way, you don't ever really think about intricate guitar work. That's
No.
not really the sound or the thought process at all. But Jade kind of grew into it, and as the records went on, and you went more and more towards modern day, like basically starting at, uh, I mean, starting at Black Sails in the Sun. That's starting it, and then it goes to Art of Drowning, and then obviously with Sing the Sorrow, it just kind of got bigger and bigger. I would recommend, if you're into AFI or if you're into that sound at all, going back, check out the old records, but also check the new ones and listen for Jade's guitar work, because it's fucking cool stuff. Also, his stuff with Davey, with Extremist, which is a straight edge hardcore band, that stuff's also super cool. Jade's sound and his soloing ish on those records also still pretty cool. And they also have their electro band Black Audio, which released a really cool record, and they've released like 5 more since then that are not as cool, but the first one is really cool, so also go check that out. But Jake,
Alrighty, so my next one here is going to be a bot from Immortal. And this is
all
Sons
right,
of Northern Darkness. I also pulled At the Heart of Winter. These are probably their 2 heaviest riff records. Like, if you're into riffs, this is the band for you. Just some of the heaviest, darkest, menacing fucking riffs of all time. Immortal, Norwegian black metal band. These are some of their latter era albums. Really, these albums got really melodic, and I appreciate them because the bot has a lot of classic rock influences, and it shows in his albums. He's actually Abath was actually their original bass player. Demon Oz was a guitar player, and then Demon Oz got tinnitus and couldn't play guitar anymore,
oh wow,
and he couldn't tour or play guitar, so he just wrote lyrics for the band, and the bot took over all the guitar playing stuff later in life, like 97, 98, I think, something like that. And he's about since gone. He has his own band, which is heavily Immortal inspired, called the Bot. But they're very, very similar, big riffs, just chunky, goddamn, just some of the biggest riffs you've ever heard. Like march and destroy the earth, or come down to the ring and beat somebody's brain in, like
yeah,
that type of shit. And these are these are my riff records for sure for Immortal. Their new stuff's really cool because Demonaz is playing guitar again. So, because Demonaz is the only original guy now, he owns the band. So their new
yeah,
records are really good too. Just Abot has a different style. I mean, Tyrants is just Cashmere. Like, if you listen to them back to back, like, it's the same exact tone. Like, the intro to Cashmere is the intro to Tyrants. He just does the intro
yeah.
to Tyrants all on guitar. So,
Okay,
um, like, he said that in interviews too. So, like, he takes all those influences and puts them in a black metal lens, which is really cool because other black metal bands
yeah,
don't do anything like that, especially from like
yeah,
classic
yeah.
rock. Um, so yeah, Immortal,
Well,
Abot, one of
they're all big Kiss heads and stuff like that, right? Too, right?
yes, like Abot's a big Kiss fan, Zeppelin,
Yeah,
that 70s era, classic rock stuff he absolutely adores. So he's still doing similar stuff. So, like, if you're into big riffs, highly check him out. And these records are absolutely stellar. So Sons of Northern Darkness, and then At the Heart of Winter. So
hell yeah.
um, yeah, Abot from Immortal had to make my list because if I want to listen to chunky riffs and get hyped up, like these are the
Those are your locker room records.
oh yeah, for sure, 100%. Yeah.
Love it. All right. So another one that I have here, um, a classic guy from not our era whatsoever, but one from many eras past. One Mr. Neil Young. So this is the greatest package that he came out with, like in 2005, maybe it was, 2004, something or other. But I'm a big Neil fan. Neil's guitar work is really cool. I love it's really dirty, sludgy, weird fucking sound that he always likes going with. I like when Neil kicks into solos a lot personally. I guess some people don't like it for whatever the fuck reason. I don't know why you whatever. But Neil's live shit, especially, 'cause I'm a big Neil live fan, because he just gets so fucking weird and like not jammy, but he just fucking takes shit to a different level. And he has, like I said, his tones and his guitar work. I don't know if he does pedals. I'm sure he does. I don't know all that stuff, but it just sounds so fucking crazy and so fucking loud and just so fucking gnarly and nasty. It's awesome. Cortez the Killer, major fucking guitar song. Hey Hey My, that's also for Into the Dark, Into the Black, Out of the Blue, all that stuff, or Out of the Blue and Black. Both versions, acoustic and obviously with the band, fucking killer. Powderfinger, another huge guitar song. Ohio, I also think is a really really cool guitar work throughout the entire song, even though that song's not obviously a big, like, it's more a message song than anything else. But his guitar work on that too, because like it just sounds like almost like fucking like an animal squawking or something. It's just, it's a really really crazy weird sound. Just I love it a lot. And Like a Hurricane, again, just more Neil just going crazy and have his epic guitar solos and stuff. But for my money, I think he's probably one of the best soloists from that kind of singer songwriter Laurel, Canyon scene, I guess. I know people talk about Steven Stills a lot. People talk about it like from Neil's same bubble. People are huge Steven Stills fans, and I've never gone that deep into Steve. I've heard Manassas. I own Manassas. It's fine. But I never went to like Illegal Stills and Stills 2 and Stills 3 and all those other records. Never did that. But from what I know, I like a lot of Neil, and maybe I'll check Steve Stills out at some point in time. He's fucking 75 years old, so he's not getting any younger. So maybe I should check out some of the old stuff more than I already have. But yeah. So Neil Young, for my money, definitely the best soloist and best songwriter from that whole scene for sure, especially from that generation. So there you go, love it.
Yeah, good choice. Kind of change it up here. We've been
Yeah,
obviously I'm bringing a lot of metal tonight, but you're bringing a lot of newer artists. So there you go.
That's true. Neil Young is a very new artist. I got it.
No, I said you were bringing a lot of newer artists, and you changed it up.
Okay,
That's what I said.
I know. It's all about how you feel, though. Neil could be a new artist.
Moving on. Slayer. Seasons in the Abyss. South of Heaven.
Ooh.
Classics. Could have pulled Rain and Blood too. Could have pulled the early shit. Who am I talking about though? Jeff Hanneman. I like Carrie. I think Carrie's very integral to the band. Obviously, it's weird picturing Slayer without Carrie. Like if he would have joined fucking Megadeth, that would have been crazy. Very crazy. For me, Jeff was one of the coolest dudes in the band for sure. Him and Tom, and like he has most of my favorite songs. I mean, Angel of Death, obviously, Postmortem, the intro to Raining Blood, Dead Skin Mass. Yeah, Tom wrote the lyrics to Dead Skin Mass, but it's mostly a Jeff penned music. That's one of the few songs because Tom did the serial killer stuff. Like he has Dead Skin Mask, and then he has 213. Those are Tom Penn songs. Yeah.
Okay.
Spirit in Black. Dead Skin Mask, like Tyler said. Die by the Sword off the first record, man. Mandatory Suicide off South of Heaven. Like I was listening to South of Heaven today, man, and like it, we watched Mania and Edge came out to South of Heaven, the title track.
Yeah.
And I'm like, God damn, I gotta listen to that record. So when we did this, I'm like, I gotta put Jeff on there. And it's 10 years. It'll be 10 years in May. So next month.
Wow.
It'll be 10 years since his passing. So absolutely crazy. He's been gone that long. But it's where was I going with that? They're just one of those bands, man, where they're just a cool fucking band. Like when I listen to South of Heaven, I'm like, there's been evil sounding metal bands and shit. And like, I know a lot of people like Seasons and Sound of Heaven, they got slower and shit. And Raining Blood's where it's at, or even that's all the Metal Blade shit's where it's at. So I know there's certain eras and shit, but like to me, like, really up to maybe like Divine Intervention, like that's one of the best runs ever. And maybe we can do that someday, like best album runs, like how many albums you consider classics in a row.
And
it'd be kind of interesting. Yeah. So
That's
to me,
fair.
like Divine Intervention, I still love Divine Intervention, but that's when the cracks started because that's when obviously Dave left. So, but those original four fucking dudes, man, one of the coolest fucking bands ever,
For
and
sure.
like I just got fucking chills and like almost fucking tears listening to South of Heaven, which is really weird, obviously, but it's just they're such a powerful fucking band, and like some of those fucking songs, man, they're just so creepy, and like the
No,
tones
I was
that
going to say
the tones that Jeff and Carrie would get to. But I just appreciate Jeff's songwriting more. So like that's why I put him in there and over Carrie. But so yeah, Jeff Hanneman from Slayer. Just pulled these as examples because I fucking love these records, man. Like
oh,
I
for
was
sure.
watching I think Heavy Metallurgy and somebody was dogging on them and they were like, yeah, they lost me. Rain and Blood was where I tuned out and like it's like, man,
Okay.
you just denying yourself so much. I understand it's totally different. Like these are so much slower, but these are just
Yeah.
so fucking like Rain and Blood's like 30, 26 minutes or whatever it is of just fucking boom. It's there and gone. It's
Yeah.
iconic for a reason. But like these are so fucking menacing and the riffs in these songs, man. They just fucking headbang the whole fucking time.
Yeah. I get like that because early stuff's like extreme punk. Like it's a lot of just punk influence. And I
Very
get like
fast, yeah. It's
if
Venom.
that's your vibe, I get it. Like I get why maybe you wouldn't be super into that. But to have like a I don't know, like okay, I guess there's a difference between like I'm just not into it, but having have like a hate towards it. That's a different
Mhm.
weird vibe for me. Yeah, they got slower, got
Mhm.
like I said, menacing, more evil sounding. Like just hearing the opening to South of Heaven, like we just saw it with Mania, like
Mhm.
Edge's character, like just getting wrestling here, but it's supposed to be like a he lost it and he's all crazy and whatever. He's gonna bring back his old self or something because he has to do that in the storyline or some shit, right? And be more crazy. That's what the intro. That's what the first minute and a half of that song is. Like it's just a really weird, creepy. Like I remember listening. We saw this before, but I remember watching one of the countdowns, the greatest heavy metal artists or whatever countdown. And
Mhm.
I remember somebody saying this is the soundtrack to the soundtrack to hell or the apocalypse or something or other. And I'm like, that's true. I mean,
Mhm.
that's kind of what you hear. Like it's totally real. Like I'm not super deep into the extreme metal or satanic metal or what have you, but like for my money, it's about as creepy as you're gonna get for a lot of shit that like is mainstream, I guess you could say.
Yes, 100%.
Um, yeah, it's the creepiest mainstream, and we're using that word pretty liberally here. You're gonna get, I think. But super cool, a good pick, and well deserved for sure. And 10 years, I remember being at Ryan's house when I was still living there, and sitting in the chair and seeing your text pop up, and you said Jeff died, and that's
Yeah.
all you texted me, and I was like, woo, it was a handful and a half of Jeffs that
Mm,
that can apply to, I suppose. And I almost thought Jeff Hardy at first, and I was like,
no,
what the fuck? And then I
no.
was like, what? And you're like Hanneman. And I was like, oh shit, because when he
Mm,
died, we didn't even like we knew he was sick. Obviously, we didn't know he was sick. We just knew like
yeah.
obviously things weren't doing great, maybe, and maybe he wasn't going to play music again because of the infection and stuff, whatever he
Mm.
had from the spider bites or whatever. But yeah, just fucking terrible, fucking crazy 10 years, man. Wow.
Yeah, 10 years, 10 years next month. Yeah. I remember being at Discover and I remember a dude on my team that I didn't like. I didn't like him because he was one of those like mid 30s try hard dudes. So like he
Love it.
got the job at Discover and it was like he was gonna make it happen at Discover. So I was obviously what as a fucking whatever 20-year-old, I
Yeah.
wasn't really into that. Obviously I didn't want to be there. Every day was
Yeah.
miserable. And then you
Yeah.
want to make shit fun. Just get the fuck away from me. But he knew I liked metal. And
Yeah.
he's the
Yeah.
one who told me, actually. And yeah, that's how I found out from that guy that I didn't even like. And I was like, holy
That's
shit, dude. And then I remember coming over there to hang out with you because that was the Golden Gods night. And that's when
yes,
they
it was.
did that's when they gave
Wow.
Ronnie they gave Ronnie that lifetime achievement thing. So we watched that. And then Ronnie was gone not
Sure,
too
thereafter.
shortly there, 2015, I think, if I
Yeah.
remember right. Yeah, that was like one of Ronnie's like last public appearances, I'm almost positive. Um so yeah, that I remember no, 2010. So never mind, we're way off.
So
But we
that was
did
Ronnie.
watch the Golden Gods.
Yeah, we did 100%. And I think there was
But
an
it was a
award
different
for Ronnie.
it was like yeah, something like that. I don't know why I have Ronnie mixed in there. But
Yeah.
anyway, I remember doing that because it was that night. You're like,
Yeah.
we'll watch it. It was on. And yeah, there's very few moments in my life where I remember celebrities dying. Eddie Guerrero, Chris Benoit, and like Jeff Hanneman. Like those
Yeah.
are like the big three for me. Where I was like, holy shit, like that actually. And Neil, obviously Neil Peart.
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
but yeah. So yeah, Jeff Hanneman from Slayer.
All right. So another newer little bit for me is going to be, because I keep pulling up my list to make sure I have my proper songs that I want to ear tag.
Oh, gotcha.
So for one, Mr. Justin Beck in the band Glassjaw. Big Glassjaw fan. Love all the records they've done, even though they've only done 3.5 really. So it all works out. But so Glassjaw is a post-hardcore, again, a screamo. I don't know, like emo. I don't know what they want. I don't know what. I never know the genres. I'm not good with that. I don't know shit about what the fuck we want to call them. But Justin's guitar playing has always been really manic and really weird and just really loud, and he has really cool riffs, and he does most of the music for the band in general. It's all just playing bass, guitar. I don't think he actually plays drums, but he's basically the guy in charge of all the music, and then Daryl does all the lyrics of that, lyrics and whatnot. But for my money, out of that whole little crazy 2000s, 99, 2000s little scene that they had going on there, for my money, Justin Beck had a really and still has a really interesting tone, really a weird way of playing, and it's basically, when you see them play, every time I see them play live, it's really crazy because there's no talk at all. There's no like build up at all. It's just them walking on stage. Justin plugs in, gets a shit on. He gets his guitar up here, fucking Tom Morello style, basically, and just fucking dives in immediately, and immediately goes loud as shit and goes hard and heavy, and it's insane. I love it so much. So it makes you feel good. Anyway, Tip Your Bartender, big song. Siberian Kiss, big song. Shira off the newest batch of record EP is super cool. And You Think You're John Fucking Lennon, which is a single off of which is the singles, but it's not a coloring book. Yeah, I think it's just singles collection, whatever. It's the one I actually showed earlier, or like a few 5 or 6 podcasts ago for packaging, whatever. Yeah. But anyway, those songs, I think he has really cool riffs in them. He's a really good musician. Like his the way that he thinks about things, because he's a very big he's a big punk guy. They all were, but he takes a different turn on it altogether. He doesn't really have a lot of punk. I don't know, punk intuition maybe, and he takes it and he makes it almost, I don't want to say Deftonesy, but that probably would be the best comparison, maybe, possibly, and just makes it a little more manic, a little more crazy and whatnot. But his pedals and everything else, I don't know, just his tone goes crazy. So if you're into Deftonesy, screamy stuff, and you want a different taste, a little flavor, check out Glassjaw and check out everything you ever want to know about Silence, Worship Tribute, and the new record, Material Control. Go check them out. It's fun. So there's that. So Justin Beck, Glassjaw, boom.
Nice. Tyler bringing some of the Tyler. Go ahead.
I was going to say a lot of scientific breakdowns here, but yes, there we go.
No, it's good, man. Tyler bringing some of the Tyler greatest hits, but some shit that different aspects that we haven't talked about. So
maybe there you go.
I appreciate it. All right. Moving on, just pulling them off the list here. So let's go with Alex Lifeson from Rush. Had to put him in there. Honestly, if we do bass player or vocalist and drummer, like Rush, it's going to make every list. Pulled the debut too. I mean, Working Man. Just some of the best Alex playing. It's the first fucking record. It's crazy.
Yeah. First song or first single, right?
Yeah, basically. No. What's the fucking name of the song? In the Mood. That's the first single.
Oh, didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. Working Man was the thing that broke them when it started getting played in Cleveland, though.
Yeah.
Um, I pulled moving pictures too because there's obviously great guitar work on here. I mean, Tom Sawyer, YYZ, Red Barchetta, Limelight, the intro to Limelight. Um, Alex is a guitar player that's underappreciated. I know it sounds really weird, but you're in a band with Neil Peart, and then you're in a band with Geddy Lee, who Neil is obviously one of the most respected drummers ever. So you're going to be overshadowed there. Geddy, one of the most respected bass players ever, does synths, does the keys, vocalist too, and he's a very polarizing vocalist too. So that's what they're going to talk about. They're either going to talk about Geddy or Neil when you talk about Rush. It's true. It's 100% true. I mean,
I've honestly never thought about Alex getting shortchanged. I always just thought about Neil being here, Geddy being here, and then Alex being like here, like maybe like a little bit less. But
I'm
I
not.
always just think about, I'm talking about, but
I'm
people
not.
jock or appreciation maybe.
I'm not saying he's like. I guess underappreciated is not the correct word. I guess he's just for Rush fans. Obviously, he's very appreciated. But I think for the
Yeah,
layman, like Neil, you know who Neil, and then you know Geddy because of the voice.
yeah,
So
he's the one gets left out.
exactly,
Maybe.
100%. But Alex is soloing, his playing, everything, even on the '80s records when they kind of drove down the guitar in the mix and everything. I still appreciate it. Like there's some great playing on Signals. That's my favorite Rush record. There's great playing on every Rush record. Obviously, they're some of the best musicians ever for me to lay anything down on a tape. Um, so yeah, Alex. I've always appreciated him, his songwriting ability together with Geddy. They just created some great fucking tracks, great riffs, great soloing. The solos on YYZ. I mean, that track's a highlight for everybody, but Alex really shines on that. Working Man, obviously too. And he's a baby when they did Working Man. So yeah, Alex Lifeson from Rush, one of my favorite guitar players of all time, and I think he's underappreciated by the common man.
Okay.
Not the Rush hardcore, but the common man. I think
The
the
working
last thing
man.
you think about, I think the last thing you think about Rush is the guitar playing,
Okay.
probably, like for the casual fan.
Hmm.
Because
Actually,
also this is a band too where the mixes, like I was listening to Rush today, like the mixes, like everybody's highlighted so well. Usually in bands, like especially rock bands, the guitar is the thing.
mhm,
Yeah, almost 99% of the time.
mhm,
Sometimes bass, sometimes vocals, but usually guitar is the front and center. And like Rush is mixed so well where they're all highlighted on tracks so well, and they'll have bass intros and nice guitar solo and bass solos and then drum solos and shit and great fills by Neil. Like it's hard to stand out. So I think
yeah, yeah.
that's part of the problem too, just because they all take the spotlight so well. So
No, you're good. Um, I would agree. Um, I guess, like I said, I guess if I had to like rank the members, I guess that's the way I would do it. I just think Neil's so far and away the guy that everybody gets talked about. It's hard to
mhm.
compare. Obviously, to be in a band with him, he's you're in the shadow immediately.
Mm.
I actually was gonna send you because the Rush the debut box set was on sale for like $35 on
I
Amazon.
got it.
I was gonna
I
send it to you. I
got it.
didn't know if that's anything you wanted though.
I got it. It's
Oh, you did?
coming.
Oh, okay. All right,
Yeah.
there you go. Boom.
Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was anything in there besides just the remaster or whatever. I didn't know if there was anything crazy in there.
It's basically just packaging and shit,
Yeah,
but in remaster. But yeah, it's cheap enough.
yeah. That's
It's
that was my thought on it.
got the itch. So and it was cheap enough. I wouldn't have
Yeah,
bought
yeah.
it at full price, like the 60 or $70 or whatever. So
Fair enough. There you go. All right. So I got two left.
okay,
I have one. We might share the one. I don't know, maybe, but
okay,
I'll do uh my last modern day, if you will. Um, so it's gonna be for a little band called Brand New. So this is Devil and God, Raging Inside Me. It's my favorite Brand New record, and the guitarist is one Vin Accardi. So Vin would write a lot of the music and some lyrics too. On this record, he started writing more lyrics, and then the next few records he did the same. But for the most part, he's just writing the music, and they're very band, oriented. Like they all wrote everything else, but Jesse took the lyrics, obviously. But Vin did a lot of the instrumentation on this record, and this is the more experimental record, the first real experimental record they ever did, and that's kind of like when things get really interesting for me because when you start dabbling in sounds that you've never obviously partaken in before, especially for them, they just did a pop punk record the first time, and then they did a pop punk indie-ish record the second time, and this is the next record, and this is totally different vibe altogether. Um, it's a lot more dark. There's little to no happiness. Not that there was a lot in the other records, but at least there was little time to shine. This one's just very bleak, and for my money, for Vin, the You Won't Know, the opening riff to You Won't Know, is really haunting. I think that DeGosser off this record too is another fucking killer song. He's got cool solos in that, and a lot of different effects that he puts on his guitar is just fucking really cool. And there's also a demo that got leaked because before this record came out, they actually recorded an entire record full of music, and those demos actually got leaked on LimeWire, and people were really into them. So
Mm.
when that happened, though, they decided as a band we're gonna disregard that. So we're gonna give it up. We're not doing those songs anymore. We're making a whole new record. And that's where this record came from. So there's a song on there. They called it 1996, but it was like Untitled, I think 4 possibly. And when it leaked in the demos, and so when they mastered it and re-released it maybe 5 or 6 years ago now, they called it 1996. There's a cool solo on the back end of that I think is very underappreciated. I would recommend anybody that's a brand new fan that they've not really dove into the demos for some reason. Usually, if you're a brand new fan, you're fucking a sycophant cult person, so you've heard everything. But in the event that you're not and you're a layman, look into that demos remaster EP. It's fucking really cool. And I think that Vin is probably I think every band or most bands, obviously there's exceptions to everything, but I think most bands there's a musician, there's a true musician and a true like visionary of sorts in every band, and everybody else associated with them, whatever, is also good. They're not bad musicians, but there's one like
Mm.
true real guy that's like the guy that's like gonna like really build this thing out. And usually there's only like one guy that really actually understands like music theory or understands like the weird shit, whatever. Usually
Right.
there's only one guy in a lot of bands, and I think Vin is the guy that in brand new was the guy that thought about things a little more in depthly, thought about the theory of things, if you will, and the things that make sense in the songs. And he had some lyrics in this record too that were kind of cool. He had Handcuffs, that was his big song that he wrote in this record, and it's not bad, it's not my favorite, but it's fine. But anyway, for guitar work though, I think this is where he comes to shine. And I know that Science Fiction, their last record, I know people say that is where he really, really turns on. And I haven't gone back and listened to that record in a little while, so I need to do that. But from what I remember when it came out, it was pretty guitar based. So I probably should have dove more into that, but I actually did not think about Vin until we were actually about to sign on.
Oh,
So
okay.
I probably should have done that more math. But yeah, anyway, regardless, Vinicardi, brand new, one of the coolest riff masters, riff meisters, riff lords to come out of the little emo pop punk scene early mid 2000s. So there you go. Boom.
Nice. Nice. Yeah, I got 3 more. So
Okay.
let's do. Had to do it. Tyler probably knew it was coming. Neil Sean from Journey. It's been always
Oh
one of
yeah.
my favorite guitar players of all time. Despite all the craziness of the band today, doesn't matter. Chose Infinity just because haven't talked about Infinity. Like the intro to Lights, so iconic, man. Neil's playing. I love his soloing. Like everything adds so much to the songs that I just love his playing, man. Like he's like the competent guitar player songwriter that Journey needed. Like because without him, I think that obviously Steve's way integral to the band. Same with Jonathan. But I think without Neil, it loses that proggy rock edge. Even when they
Mm,
were doing giant diamond records like Escape, like they're still like, they're still fucking pretty heavy songs on here, like Stone in Love. That intro, that guitar intro is great. The solo
yeah,
on Don't Stop Believing, obviously just fucking
iconic.
iconic. Keep on Running, pretty heavy song. Some great playing on Still They Ride. Like even on the ballads, Neil always find a way to shine. Um, so if there was a guitar, like he usually found a way. He usually made good with his time. So I always appreciate that. So a little early journey with Infinity and a little mega journey with Escape.
Oh yeah,
But I appreciate pretty much all of Neil's playing. Like he's competent on basically everything, every record. Um, and yeah, I know he gets jocked. I know the early records get jocked too because that's like the pre-Perry records because that's like when they were really doing their fucking musician thing. I'm not really into that stuff because I think Steve and Jonathan really narrowed that band into its core and what it should be.
yeah, brought the vision
Um, exactly. But I think Neil added that extra something. So had to throw Neil in there. He's always been up there for me. And again, it's one of those guys where you sing the solos. So I always
for
appreciate that.
sure. Yeah, he's got a handful and a half of solos that everybody can sing and hum at any point in time. It's pretty crazy. Um,
Yeah.
I mean, he was the prodigy, right? Like he's been doing it since he
Mhm.
was 15.
16,
So
50, yeah, he was with Santana. And
which is insane because
yeah.
I think Santana is also another musician's band. So it's like,
Yeah.
you're
I mean,
getting
Carlos
into
Santana. Yeah.
no, exactly, yeah, but like the whole thing, like it's just you're getting another musician band at such a young age. Obviously, your chops are definitely damn near established at that point, which is insane to think about.
Yeah.
But no, fucking A,
100%.
man. Neil Sean. All right. So my last one is if
Oh,
you're not gonna do it, you're not gonna do this and not do this,
okay.
So like whatever.
All right.
We're doing a little band called Van Halen. We already did it.
Oh,
We did
okay.
it, everything else last week or the week before
I
last.
thought
We did
you
everything.
did a
What were you doing?
ranking. Yeah, check it out. I thought
Did
you
a
were going to
ranking.
do a dime bag.
So I thought you were gonna do Dimebag. That's why I didn't do Dimebag.
I did
So I
not
thought
do
you
dime
were
bag.
gonna. All right, we can riff Dimebag together, I guess. I also don't own any
Got,
Pantera records,
yeah,
so
neither do I. Got to do
yeah,
part two. Part two.
yeah, we'll do a part two. Yeah. So Eddie Van Halen, obviously, he's the guy. He's the guy that everybody wanted to be. Everybody wanted to sound like. Everybody wanted to have the abilities. Everybody studied. Everybody did everything with. Obviously, from 1977 until forever, right? Uh, but yeah, I mean, Eddie was a visionary. He did everything first. Obviously, all the guitar players know all the things he actually really did. But the tapping, I know, is a big deal. His songwriting ability, his musicianship, the fact that he kind of changed the way the trajectory of that entire era of music is just fucking
Mm-hmm.
insane. Because he brought the guitar god into the modern time, even though like he was still playing in '77, like that's still Zeppelin, that's still whatever, right? But like, just brought a new spin on his in his tone was way different. The Brown sound, what he did, the atomic punk sound, like that whole thing, because he wanted the rich and dark tones or whatever. And I don't know, man. You don't bring up guitar, you don't think about any of this shit without Van Halen, obviously, without Eddie. I know Unchained. We talked about this before. That's Unchained is a sick song, and I love Unchained a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I know that all the guitar players hear it and they hear all the weird shit, and they're always like, "This is fucking insane." Like, and he's the first one to do all the stuff therein, and yeah. So fair warning, Eddie Van Halen. There you go. Fucking A.
Agreed. Yeah. If you want to know my thoughts, check out the Van Halen album ranking. So check that
There you
out.
go.
Alrighty, I'm gonna do. Yeah, these guys kind of go to. Well, I actually had three more. Shit, but two of these guys kind of go together because they're very similar players. So
Okay.
I'll run through this really. Gary Moore,
There you go.
just fucking absolutely love Gary Moore. These are two of his 80s records. I've been dabbling into his 90s like blues stuff, like just so much feel, soul, tone, and these 80s records have that too. So it's got a different vibe. Like the solo on this title track, Wild Frontier, it's fucking rips. And the 12-inch version just opens with like a fucking ripping fucking solo. Like that's how
Oh
the
yeah.
song opens up. Yeah. Just fucking legendary, man. Absolutely love him. Great tone. And a guy that I've grown to appreciate, probably the last 3 or 4 years, that absolutely just grown to love and dabbling in. It's got so much music. It's fun. So Gary Moore.
Also, let's be honest. The reason why we did this is because you're getting really into Gary Moore, and you're like, "This is
Yes.
really a cool thing." Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Gary Moore extent. Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy that I thought of first, honestly, when I probably did this is Mark Knopfler from Dire
Ooh.
Straits. This is the first guy where I learned to appreciate guitar. Um, Money for Nothing off this record, and then Sultans of Swing off the debut. Like that's when I, as like an 8-year-old, was like, "Holy shit, this is really cool!" Like his
Yeah.
soloing, his bluesy feel. Nobody sounds like Mark. To me, it's the best, one of the best guitar tones ever. For sure. Absolutely love it. Love Over Gold. This is a really great fucking guitar record. A lot of cool acoustic stuff on here too. This whole record's really fucking good. Telegraph Road and Private Investigations are great. Just great pieces of music from Mark. And his brother too is a great rhythm guitar player. He played on the first 3 albums. But like Mark is the star of the band for sure.
Yeah.
And absolutely legendary guitar player. Has some of the biggest like Sultans of Swing. Everybody knows that solo. Money for Nothing, that opening riff. Obviously, everybody knows that. So like just iconic
Gigantic.
fucking yes. So he was honestly the first guy. And then another guy that I thought of pretty quick too is Andres from
Ooh.
Sepultura. So I have Arise here and then Beneath the Remains. For my money, like one of the best thrash death metal guitar players ever. Brought so much to this band. Beneath the Remains. Beneath the Remains is his first record, I'm almost positive. But anyway, when he came into the band, just brought so much to the band. So much so that there's in one of the death reissues, there's a scanned copy of a note that Max wrote to Chuck. And it's like, hey, check out the new record. We found this fucking guitar player. He's ridiculous. Check it out. Max is really hyping up. And Max is a good guitar player in his own right, but Andres, man, just still fucking nailed it on these records. I mean, Dead Embryonic Cells off this is my favorite riff of all time. And everybody, if you know that song, you know that fucking riff. It's that whole song with Max and Andres, like they're killing it on that fucking song, and just riff, fucking gigantic riff, great fucking solos. And the funny thing about Sepultura is like when Sepultura started, they were babies, so like none of them could really play, and then they just became like fucking monster musicians. Yeah, and if Andres is still in the band, if fucking Max and Igor ever came back to Sepultura, I'd be fucking there in a heartbeat. So. Yeah, that's.
Do you think they're I mean, obviously the whole band, but do you think his style is the way it is because of them coming from Brazil?
I think it is. Yeah, they had their own fucking sound, man.
Because they're so disconnected.
Yes, 100%. Like those fucking that band and Sarcophago, another band from. I'm almost positive. I know they're from South America. I'm almost positive from Brazil too. Like that band too. They just have their own vibe. Like it's so weird. Like even those early death metal Sepultura records, like it sounds like nothing else going at the time.
Yeah.
And honestly, Sepultura did that for a very long time. Even Roots, their new metal record, like yes, it's very like Korn inspired, but it's Sepultura. Like it has that own
full of weird shit.
Vibe. Yeah, they always brought their Brazilian influences into it too, and like that culture. But even when they were just playing death metal or thrash, like it just sounds like its own thing. That's why I've always appreciated their style of playing. They're self-taught, so like they grew into their own vibe. So with like you said, without having those direct influences over them. So
it
was a totally different ball game. So that's it for me. I don't have any honorables. We kind of ran through them all. So I don't know if you got anything left.
No, man. No, I'm cool, man. We can do a part 2 once we acquire other records and stuff for other people. But no, it was fun. It was fun going back through and remembering certain songs, certain records, certain riffs. it's a fun time. I liked it. It was a good time. A good homework
Yeah.
assignment, if you will.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I had a lot of fun doing it. If you guys made it this far, hit the like button, subscribe, comment down below. Who are you? Some of your favorite guitar players? Let us know. We appreciate any and all interaction with the channel or support. The sub helps us out. We appreciate it. But anyways, if you made it this far, you get a special treat because we always end the episode with the choosing of next week's topic. So Tyler's on the hot seat now. Hopefully, he came with a topic, or then we have to do another edit in this video. But
No.
So Tyler, what topic do you want to do next week?
All right, so I think we're gonna do favorite pop princess. It's our next topic
Ooh.
next week. And
Right.
no,
Just one.
just
The shortest episode ever.
Yeah. No, we do. No, we still do go long, but we go long about one person. So we both just go 45 an hour, 20 about one person. Then you switch. You do your diatribe, your presentation of an hour and 20 about why do you like this person. Then we're done. No, we still got to do the hours. Like we still got to clock in, clock out. You know what I'm saying? No, I'm gonna do favorite opening songs for a record.
Oh,
So favorite song that sets the table, that gives you the vibes possibly of what that record is, a new sound even for a band. If they were here and now they're here, this next record, it'd be kind of cool just to hear. This is the intro. This is the thing that gives you this little taste of what you're about to hear for the rest of this 11 or 12 songs, 10 songs, whatever. Just, I like that. I dig it.
I'm going to throw a caveat here. Try to bring as many as you bring. If you bring 10 or 5 or whatever, try to bring half of them bands you haven't talked about before.
Okay, yeah, for sure.
Or at least in detail.
Yeah,
at least like in detail. So
done.
It's just be interesting. Just add a little caveat on there because we don't need to talk about running with the devil.
Oh, we could
again, or
I mean,
a plethora of Van Halen songs.
Think about it's the first, so it's like dun, 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 dun,
mm-hmm.
dun.
I know it is. I've heard it once or twice.
Well, hold on. Dun, dun,
okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Thank you. Gonna get copyright right now. Copyright strike.
All right. So yeah, favorite opening songs, opening tracks. There you go.
Cool. I look forward to it. Anyways, guys, we will see you next time on the Living Deadwax podcast. Peace.